Hey guys, welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Welcome back to the Guides Network. Hey, we've got an exciting topic today. This is one that I don't have a lot of footage of yet, but it's something that you definitely need to have tied on as we get into fall. One of the best and most fun ways to catch them in the fall on top with a Whopper Plopper. All right, let's get a little history on the Whopper Plopper real quick, just so you guys kind of understand where it comes from and how it came about. The Whopper Plopper was actually originally designed in a bait that's actually even bigger than this, quite a bit bigger than this. The original Whopper Plopper was, and it was designed as a musky bait. And as time went on, they made some smaller versions, and hey, guys started fishing bass for them. And now we've even got this little tiny version like this. It's good for little bass and schooling bass and all kinds of things. But as it developed in the bass world, River to Sea was making it, and it became a popular thing on the West Coast for a lot of years. And it wasn't real popular across the country. A few of us knew about it here in Texas. And then Chris Lane showed up to Toledo Bend with a Whopper Plopper and finished second in an Elite Series event on Toledo Bend with a Whopper Plopper. So now everybody kind of knows about it. It's a big deal. A lot of people fish it for a little bit and they lose confidence. One thing you have to understand about a Whopper Plopper, you will catch more fish on a Yellow Magic or a Splashback Popper or a Rebel Popper or the Lake Fork Tackle Magic Popper or a Spook Junior, all your standby standard topwater hard plastic baits. But this bait right here, especially this mid-tier size one, the 130, which is my favorite, you're going to catch a lot bigger fish. In fact, the biggest fish of the year in this boat came on this bait right here. Here we are, guys. We're at Lake Fork Marina. Miss Jamie was fishing with me this morning, and she's got something. We're fixing to weigh it on the official scales here at Lake Fork Marina. How big is it, Jamie?
Huge.
It's huge.
Monster.
Can you get him? Oh, look at that mouth.
He's pretty.
Oh, goodness.
Pretty. What do I do with this?
Just, here you go. I'll get that. Let's see what it says.
Oh, and make sure it's not touching on that other side. Yeah, let me back here that. Okay.
10:31. We said 10 1/4 on mine, so mine was off by about an ounce.
That's good. That's
Hey.
a very nice fish.
Hold it up, show it to the camera, Miss Jamie.
Yeah, hold it out toward him. Yeah.
That's what we do at Lake Fork. You guys call me if y'all want to get on the trip.
That's
Check that out right there.
Were you in the tournament? No, ma'am.
Good job, Miss Jamie. At the end of May, almost June. So it's an effective tool for a big portion of the year. And now that we're getting into fall, it's really going to become more and more effective. We had a hard cold front today. We got a couple more days before that kind of settles in, and those fish should really start biting topwaters here within the next week or so. That being said, let's get into the gear and how we're fishing this thing so you guys can get off on the right foot with a Whopper Plopper and catch you some big bass. For my rod, I'm using my 7.4 heavy rod. I'm using my 50-pound braid. The reason that I do that is because braid floats. You don't want a line that sinks. That fluorocarbon line sinks, it'll make that nose dig and it will foul up the action of the bait. It will not run correctly if you use fluorocarbon. You could use mono, and I really don't have a problem if you want to use mono. I like to use braid on fork because this bait, especially this bigger size one, comes with some really mean, extra big, extra heavy gauge treble hooks already on it. And I really want to take advantage of those hooks that are on here, and I want to stick that fish and take complete control over them and get them to the boat as fast as possible, as long as they're not too huge like that one you just saw. That one kind of took us for a ride in a rodeo, but you know, most of the time, most fish, I want to get complete control over them, and that braid helps me do that. Plus it floats. Plus if the bait snags in grass, I can rip it free and continue on with my cast 90% of the time without it being fouled up on the grass. It will shake it off. So 7/4 heavy rod, 50-pound braid, 6:3 to 1 gear ratio reel's fine on this. You want to kind of creep this thing. You want to go pretty slow with it, and then at times you want to go really fast. So I like a mid-gear ratio where I can adjust up and down as I see fit. On as far as like the areas, you know, when, where do I fish this? The biggest factor for me, guys, is wind. I always want some wind. You can see right now, right where we're sitting, we're kind of protected. But if you look out over that water, there's water moving. I always want a little bit of wind ripple. I want some current on the water where I'm fishing a Whopper plopper at. It's a loud bait. It's a big bait. Causes a lot of disturbance. And I really want those fish to be active and moving around when I'm fishing a bait that makes that much noise. So wind is my biggest factor. But other than that, location-wise, over the tops of submerged grass beds and grass flats is always going to be number one best place to throw it. And then the wind-blown points, secondary or main lake. If the fish are utilizing the shallow water on those points, then absolutely a Whopper plopper on a wind-blown point is phenomenal. That is also one of the very best places you can throw it. That's my two main areas that I look to throw it. Like I said, the big factor is the wind. Low light conditions help. Not always absolutely necessary, especially in the fall, but low light conditions definitely help, and the wind is a must. You know, guys, on the different types, sizes, and styles that I fish, it's really, really simple. The 130 is hands down my favorite model. I throw this probably 85 to 90% of the time I'm throwing a Waffle plopper. I'm throwing the 130 size. These are the two colors that I use. I use this black color with whatever loon pattern or whatever that is. And then this one's not what they call bone, but it's basically like bone, or just a plain white or a bone pattern as well. Just black and white. Very simple, guys. This bait is a big profile bait. It makes a ton of noise. There's no reason to try to trick anybody. They know it's there, so you might as well pick the hard profile colors that will show up the most. That's my personal philosophy on it. We also do use the smaller one. A lot of times when they're focused on, if they do get focused on smaller bait fish, and that will occur in the fall at times, you can throw the smaller, the 90 size, 90 series on the Whopper plopper, and it will get bit when the bigger one won't at times. Now with this one, you're going to catch smaller fish. You're going to catch a lot more of the smaller type fish, but it will catch big fish as well when they're keyed in on the smaller bait. You know, with this deal, guys, like I said, it's not going to get near as many bites, but it's going to get big bites, and you have to stick with it. You have to build your confidence in it. You know, this thing took the bass fishing world by storm, so to speak, here a couple years ago, and there's a reason. This thing gets a lot of really big bites. It's just one of those deals. You really have to stick with it, build your confidence up, get a couple of those big fish in the boat, and then I promise you, you won't want to put it down, because it's a fun bait to throw. It makes a lot of noise. It's a fun bait to watch in the water, and it's definitely a fun bait to watch them eat, blowing up on the top. And they hit this thing with an absolute vengeance. Super violent strikes on the Whopper plopper. Alright guys, now I'm going to get up and show you guys a couple of retrieve tricks that I do to try to draw some more strikes out of a bait that's really pretty simple to retrieve, but just a couple of tweaks that I make to try and get some bites. Alright, first retrieve that I'm going to do is just going to be kind of a medium to slow retrieve. I just barely want to keep that blade turning, and you'll hear it plop, 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 plop. I just barely want to keep that sound going and that blade turning. I don't really want to burn it. I'm just going nice and slow, and it's just something that noise is making that's a very unnatural noise to those fish, and it's making a lot of racket right above their head, really close to them, and it just drives them crazy. They hit it out of, that's why they hit it so violently, because they're hitting it out of anger. They're tired of that noise. It's annoying them. It's driving them up the wall, and they're hitting it out of frustration and territorial anger. And I think that's why they hit it so violently. It's incredible the way they hit this thing. So. But a long cast is an important part of it too. You know, I mean, a really super long cast, so that's a big deal. So that slow and steady retrieve, that's going to be my A1 that I go to most of the time. The other deal is I'll put a pause in it every once in a while. So if this is my slow and steady right here, and that's just keeping that blade turning, I'll give it a faster cadence, a pause, faster cadence, pause. I'll do that a lot of times when it's not windy, when it's calmer, and I want to draw a big strike, but the fish aren't quite as active. I'll give it that sudden start and stop. Pan out over here. I'll give it that sudden, pause. That's all it is. That's all it is. Just a real quick pause, something to trigger a strike. If the fish is behind that thing, following it, it's just something to make that bait stop and change direction and kind of change its momentum and put that fish in a position where he gets really close to it unexpectedly, and he has to either bite it or kind of leave it, kind of forcing him into a decision. But it's just a way to draw a reaction. And then the last way that we throw it, when the fish are really aggressive, if you got big fish chasing big bait and it's really windy out, the last deal is just burn it. Burn it. Even every once in a while, maybe give it a rip. When you do this with a Whopper Plopper, when you snap it, it makes the coolest sound. It sounds like an 11-team pounder just flushed it. It sounds incredible when you snatch it like that. It's a really neat sound. The Whopper Plopper's definitely the most realistic sounding bait. When you rip it, it sounds like a giant just ate it. But yeah, guys, long cast, cover lots of water, keep that bait in your hand because it is an absolute game changer. It will catch a giant bass, and if you don't believe me, I'll let you see this one more time.
Monster.
Can you get him? Oh, look at that mouth.
He's pretty.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, hold it out toward him. Yeah.
That's what we do at Lake Fork. You guys call me if y'all want to get on the trip. Check that out right there.
Were you in?
All right, guys. Well, that's it for the old plopper of whoppers, the Whopper Plopper, the old giant getter. It'll catch a monster, as you guys saw, and just a special bait. Still a unique bait. They don't bite it as good as they did that first year before Chris Lane really put it out there on the open market. But boy, they still bite it, and some really big key fish, as you can tell, still bite it, which is the most exciting thing about it to me is it can catch a trophy fish for you. So check those models of Whopper Ploppers out, get you the right gear. And this fall, as things progress and the topwater bite really gets going, when everybody else is throwing pop-Rs and having fun catching 2-pounders, get you a Whopper Plopper and catch you a 7, 8, maybe even a 10. Hey, we appreciate you watching the Guys Network as always. Appreciate you watching the Your Lake Fork Guide YouTube and Facebook channels. Hey, do me a favor. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe on YouTube or like the page on Facebook. And guys, that'll help me get out to more people. The more likes, the more subscribes that we get, the higher we rank, the more views we get. That's how we build this community. That's how we continue to get more word out and get more word in on how to catch more fish and just how to help each other out and love on our fellow man a little bit, because that's what we do around here. All right. Hey, other than that, we appreciate you watching, like always, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide. All right, here we are, back on the water, back where we caught her. We brought her back to her home, and now we're going to let her go. Miss Jamie's about to let this big girl go back.
I'm gonna miss you.
Turn her sideways towards me. Turn her towards me, turn her head towards me, and just grab her tail. And just grab her right around her tail like a baseball bat, or a golf club. Right, there you go. Now hold on, let her head down, let her go, and hold that tail. She'll come. See, there you go. What about that, Miss Amy?
It's awesome.
And I'll throw it back. Smooth move,
It's all over the place. I'm the one that can't catch a fish.